In the quaint town of Oak Ridge, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, life was ordinary until whispers of the vanishing began. It all started with Mrs. Thompson, a beloved librarian who failed to show up one morning for her routine story hour. Concern rippled through the community like a silent tremor, prompting worried glances and speculative murmurs. Days turned into weeks, and the mystery of Mrs. Thompson's disappearance deepened. The town's gentle rhythms were disrupted by a palpable unease, an undercurrent of anxiety that coursed through the veins of Oak Ridge. Rumors circulated like tendrils of smoke, conjectures spun from the fragile threads of speculation. Was she abducted? Did she choose to vanish? No one could decipher the truth. In the heart of this turmoil stood Detective James Carter, a seasoned investigator with a penchant for unraveling enigmas. He arrived in Oak Ridge, his presence a beacon of hope to the distressed townsfolk. Determined and methodical, Carter delved into Mrs. Thompson's life, sifting through every fragment of information. Yet the case remained an enigmatic puzzle. The disappearance of Mrs. Thompson was soon followed by others, ordinary people from various walks of life, each one fading into the enigmatic mist of the unknown. Carter sensed a pattern, a subtle tapestry woven with threads of inexplicable occurrences. His meticulous investigation unearthed connections, trivial at first glance but weaving a sinister narrative that crept through the fabric of Oak Ridge's history. There were no signs of struggle, no ransom demands, no logical explanations. The vanishing was an enigma wrapped in a shroud of ambiguity. As Carter combed through witness testimonies and scoured through evidence, the unsettling truth began to unfold like a grotesque tableau. Residents grew wary, haunted by the specter of uncertainty lurking in the shadows. They locked doors, avoided deserted alleys, and cast furtive glances over their shoulders. The once vibrant town square now wore a veneer of desolation, a ghostly echo of its former vitality. Carter found himself consumed by the investigation, sleepless nights spent poring over files, chasing elusive leads that seemed to slip through his fingers like fine grains of sand. The weight of the unsolved mystery bore down on him, gnawing at the edges of his resolve. One frigid evening, as the town lay cloaked in a scary silence, Carter received an anonymous tip. It led him to the outskirts of Oak Ridge, to a battered barn nestled amid overgrown foliage. The detective's pulse quickened as he cautiously ventured inside, the musty air thick with unease. Moonlight filtered through broken beams, casting elongated shadows that danced along the decaying walls. In the center of the barn lay a crude altar, adorned with faded symbols etched in crimson paint. Carter's heart pounded in his chest as he scrutinized the cryptic markings, a chilling realization dawning upon him. Before he could process the revelation, a sudden gust of wind extinguished his flashlight, plunging him into suffocating darkness. Panic clawed at his throat as whispers echoed from unseen corners, insidious murmurs that toyed with his sanity. A voice, cold and hollow, slithered through the void. "You seek answers, detective. Embrace the truth." The darkness seemed to constrict around Carter, tendrils of fear coiling around his mind. He fumbled for his flashlight, fingers trembling as he struggled against an overwhelming sense of dread. In a desperate attempt to flee, he turned to leave but stumbled upon an unseen obstacle, crashing to the ground. And then silence. The townsfolk awoke to an empty Oak Ridge, a ghost town frozen in time. Detective Carter, the last beacon of hope, had joined the vanishing, leaving behind a chilling message etched into the town square's worn cobblestones. None shall unveil the veil of the vanishing. Embrace the void. In the wake of his disappearance, Oak Ridge became a fading memory, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones, a place lost in the sinister embrace of the unknown. And the enigma of the vanishing persisted, a macabre legacy etched into the annals of a forgotten town, where echoes of life dissolved into the abyss. Months passed, and the narrative of Oak Ridge's vanishing faded into the periphery of neighboring towns' conversations. It became a cautionary tale, a chilling fable parents whispered to their children as a reminder of the fragility of reality. Despite the town's desolation, the mystery lingered like an unspoken curse. People avoided Oak Ridge, believing it to be cursed, an echo chamber of the supernatural. The government declared the town off limits, citing an unexplained phenomenon as grounds for quarantine. However, among the whispered tales of the town's demise, a shadowy figure emerged from the depths of obscurity. Dr. Evelyn Pierce, a brilliant but unconventional scientist specializing in the study of quantum anomalies, became fixated on Oak Ridge's inexplicable vanishing. Driven by a relentless thirst for truth, Dr. Pierce defied warnings and clandestinely ventured into the forbidden town. Armed with an array of specialized equipment and a mind unshackled by conventional reasoning, she sought to decipher the enigma that had eluded understanding. The once thriving streets of Oak Ridge were now draped in silence, a surreal stillness that clung to the buildings like a shroud. Dr. Pierce navigated cautiously, her steps echoing off the hollow facades of abandoned homes. Her investigation led her to the decrepit barn on the outskirts, the epicenter of the mystery. Despite the palpable sense of worry, Dr. Pierce pressed forward, her determination a beacon in the suffocating darkness. Inside the barn, she encountered remnants of Detective Carter's presence, scattered files, a broken flashlight, and the cryptic symbols etched upon the weathered altar. Dr. Pierce meticulously cataloged every detail, her scientific curiosity fueled by an insatiable desire to unravel the inexplicable. As she meticulously examined the symbols, a sudden resonance reverberated through the air, a dissonant frequency that reverberated in her bones. A surge of energy crackled through the barn, distorting the fabric of reality itself. The symbols glowed with an ethereal luminescence, casting an otherworldly hue upon the surroundings. Dr. Pierce's breath hitched as she realized the symbols weren't merely markings. They were a conduit, a gateway to an unknown realm beyond comprehension. In a reckless bid to unveil the truth, she activated a device designed to analyze the anomalies. The barn quaked, the air pulsating with an otherworldly resonance that transcended the boundaries of human comprehension. Reality fractured. The barn, once an abandoned husk, transformed into a surreal nexus, a convergence of disparate dimensions. Dr. Pierce's surroundings warped and twisted, a kaleidoscope of fractured realities coalescing into a mind-bending panorama. Time lost its semblance, folding and contorting upon itself. Dr. Pierce, ensnared in the maelstrom, witnessed echoes of Oak Ridge's vanished denizens, their spectral visages flickering like distant stars in an immeasurable void. In that moment of fractured existence, she glimpsed the truth. The vanishing wasn't a mere disappearance. It was a transcendence. Oak Ridge had become a fractured locus, a confluence where reality unraveled and souls transcended mortal constraints. Amidst the chaos, Dr. Pierce's consciousness teetered on the precipice of comprehension and madness. She yearned to unravel the enigma, yet the sheer enormity of the revelation threatened to devour her sanity. As swiftly as it began, the cataclysmic event reached its crescendo, and then silence. Dr. Evelyn Pierce, a lone sentinel in the turbulent sea of fractured realities, became another enigmatic fragment in the tapestry of Oak Ridge's vanishing. Her existence blurred into the ether, a fleeting anomaly lost in the labyrinth of dimensions. And Oak Ridge, a town lost to the annals of existence, remained a haunting reminder of the unfathomable mysteries that lurk at the edges of human understanding, where the veil of reality trembles and echoes fade into the cosmic abyss. Story 2. In the heart of the Appalachian Mountains nestled an old, weathered cabin shrouded in mystery and tales of sinister happenings. It stood isolated, embraced by the dense foliage that whispered secrets of generations past. The cabin's desolation had earned it a reputation among locals as a place of unspoken dread. Among the curious wanderers was Emily, an adventurous soul who sought solace in the serene beauty of nature. Drawn by tales of the forgotten cabin's haunting aura, she embarked on a solo journey into the depths of the Appalachian wilderness. As Emily ventured deeper into the labyrinth of trees, a sense of isolation enveloped her. The sun cast elongated shadows across the forest floor, creating an ominous path that led her to the elusive cabin. Upon arrival, the cabin appeared as though frozen in time, its wooden panels weathered by time and neglect, windows boarded up as if concealing a cryptic history. The air crackled with an unsettling energy, sending goosebumps along Emily's skin. Determined to unravel the mysteries shrouding the cabin, Emily cautiously stepped inside. The interior was a time capsule, an abandoned sanctuary of forgotten memories. Dust danced in the rays of light that filtered through cracks in the boarded-up windows. Despite the ambiance, Emily found herself inexplicably drawn to the cabin's haunting beauty. She set up camp inside, hoping to unearth the secrets it held. As night descended upon the wilderness, a chilling silence enveloped the cabin. Emily lit a solitary lantern, casting dim, flickering shadows that danced upon the walls. The hours ticked by, the silence disrupted only by the occasional rustling of leaves outside. Emily's attempts to uncover the cabin's mysteries proved futile, and a sense of unease gnawed at her thoughts. Just as she settled into a fitful sleep, an unsettling noise echoed through the cabin, a faint, rhythmic tapping against the window. Emily's eyes shot open, her heart pounding in her chest. She dismissed it as the wind or a curious animal, attempting to quell her rising unease. Yet the tapping persisted, growing louder with each passing moment. It transformed into an incessant, deliberate rapping against the window pane. Summoning courage, she cautiously approached the window. What she saw froze her blood in terror. Silhouetted against the moonlit forest stood a figure, its face obscured by the darkness, rhythmically tapping a long, gnarled finger against the glass. Fear clenched Emily's throat as she stumbled backward, her mind racing with inexplicable terror. The figure continued its haunting rhythm, its presence an unsettling harbinger of unknown horrors. Torn between fleeing and confronting the inexplicable entity, Emily's resolve wavered. She sought refuge by the fireplace, clutching the lantern as her only source of solace in the encroaching darkness. As the night dragged on, the cabin seemed to echo with malevolent whispers, the walls reverberating with unheard murmurs that pierced the silence. Emily's terror grew, a suffocating grip tightening around her chest. Then a sudden change. The tapping ceased, plunging the cabin into an alarming stillness. Emily's heart raced, her senses on high alert, as a bone-chilling silence enveloped the cabin, more ominous than any sound. Just as she dared to hope for an end to the haunting ordeal, a disembodied voice echoed from the shadows, and dark whisper that pierced through the darkness, chilling her to the core. "Leave this place, Emily. You are not welcome here." The voice resonated with an otherworldly quality, laced with a warning that reverberated through her very soul. Panic seized Emily as she realized she was not alone in the desolate cabin. Dread washed over her, an insidious realization that she had stumbled upon something beyond comprehension. In a desperate bid to escape the encroaching malevolence, Emily bolted toward the cabin door, her heart racing with frantic fear. But the door remained stubbornly sealed shut, refusing her escape, as if the cabin itself conspired to keep her captive within its walls. The haunting whispers grew louder, an invisible force pressing upon her, suffocating her will to resist. Shadows danced maniacally across the walls, contorting into grotesque shapes that taunted her sanity. As Emily grappled with her terror, a bone-chilling realization dawned upon her. She had unwittingly trespassed into a realm beyond understanding, a domain bound by malevolent forces that defied human comprehension. In a last desperate attempt to break free, Emily unleashed a blood-curdling scream that echoed through the desolate forest. But her cries were swallowed by the suffocating silence, leaving her at the mercy of the sinister entity that lurked within the forgotten cabin's walls. And so, Emily became another haunting tale whispered among the locals, a cautionary reminder of the forgotten cabin's unspoken horrors. Forever lost to the depths of the Appalachian wilderness, Emily's panicked screams reverberated through the desolate forest, swallowed by an unforgiving silence. The cabin seemed to pulsate with a malevolent energy, its walls closing in on her, trapping her in an abyss of terror. As her voice faded into the night, Emily's mind raced with desperate thoughts. She frantically searched for a means of escape, her trembling fingers clawing at the boarded-up windows, hoping for a glimpse of the outside world. Yet the windows remained sealed, offering no respite from the chilling embrace of the cabin's claustrophobic confines. The silence became deafening, a tangible presence that suffocated her senses. Desperation coursed through Emily's veins as she scanned the room for any semblance of salvation. In a last-ditch effort, she frantically rifled through the cabin's decrepit belongings, seeking something, anything that might offer a way out. Amidst the aged belongings, she discovered an ancient journal, its leather-bound cover worn and weathered. With trembling hands, Emily flipped through its pages, hoping for answers buried within the faded ink. The journal belonged to a previous inhabitant of the cabin, chronicling unnerving accounts of unexplained occurrences. Whispers in the night, strange apparitions, and a pervasive sense of dread that plagued the writer's every waking moment. In a chilling entry, the writer recounted a harrowing experience, a confrontation with an entity that dwelled within the cabin's walls. The entity, described as a malevolent spirit, trapped its victims in a nightmarish limbo, feeding on their fear and despair. Emily's breath hitched as she realized the chilling truth. She had stumbled upon a realm tethered to the spectral plane, a place where the boundaries between the living and the dead blurred. With a newfound sense of urgency, Emily clutched the journal to her chest, determined to defy the entity's grasp. She gathered her resolve, casting aside the paralyzing fear that threatened to consume her. As she prepared to confront the unseen malevolence, the cabin's atmosphere shifted. An icy chill swept through the air, and the flickering lantern dimmed to a mere whisper of light. Shadows danced frenetically across the walls, coalescing into grotesque shapes that loomed menacingly. Whispers echoed from the darkness, a chorus of tormented voices that clawed at Emily's sanity. With sheer determination, Emily uttered words of defiance, a shaky voice that reverberated with unwavering resolve. "I don't belong to this place. Release me from your grasp." Her words seemed to echo in the abyss, silencing the haunting whispers for a fleeting moment. The oppressive malevolence recoiled, a testament to Emily's unwavering courage. In that fleeting respite, a glimmer of hope ignited within her, a surge of determination to break free from the entity's sinister hold. She cast a desperate gaze toward the door, mustering every ounce of strength to challenge the spectral force that ensnared her. With a trembling hand, Emily reached for the doorknob, her heart pounding with frantic urgency. To her surprise, the door creaked open, revealing a faint glimpse of the moonlit forest beyond. A rush of exhilaration surged through her as she pushed against the force that held her captive. With every ounce of strength, she fought against the entity's malevolent grip, inching closer to the threshold of freedom. Just as she dared to hope for escape, a bone-chilling laugh echoed from the shadows, freezing her movements. The entity's sinister voice resounded through the cabin, a haunting reminder of its relentless power. "You will never leave, Emily. You belong to this place now." As the entity's laughter reverberated through the cabin, Emily's hope waned. She found herself trapped in a nightmarish limbo, the elusive freedom she sought slipping through her grasp. In a last act of defiance, she flung the journal out of the door, a desperate plea for someone to uncover the forgotten cabin's malevolent secrets. And so, the night consumed Emily, leaving her entwined in the haunting legacy of the forgotten cabin. A cautionary tale whispered among wanderers, forever lost to the depths of the Appalachian wilderness. Story 3. In the quiet suburban neighborhood of Elm Street, the house at number 64 stood like a monolith of mystery and intrigue. It was the residence of Mr. and Mrs. Wilson, an elderly couple who'd resided there for decades. Yet the air around their home bore in weird stillness that unsettled the neighbors. Among the residents was the Cunningham family, who lived next door. Alex Cunningham, an inquisitive teenager, noticed peculiarities surrounding the Wilsons. He observed Mr. Wilson's erratic behavior, the furtive glances, the hasty retreats indoors upon noticing neighbors, and the infrequent, creepy noises emanating from their residence. Curiosity gnawed at Alex's mind, and he confided in his parents about the unsettling occurrences. His father dismissed them as the quirks of aging neighbors, but Alex's instincts refused to relent. With his suspicions piqued, Alex embarked on a clandestine investigation. He kept a vigilant eye on the Wilsons, noting their peculiar habits and the palpable aura of secrecy surrounding their home. Days turned into weeks, and Alex's intrigue transformed into obsession. He staked out the Wilsons' house, studying their patterns and scrutinizing every minuscule detail, determined to uncover the truth. One fateful evening, as the moon cast a ghostly pallor over Elm Street, Alex noticed an unusual occurrence. The Wilsons, usually reclusive, appeared to be hurriedly loading boxes into their car, their faces etched with anxiety. Alex's heart raced as he seized the opportunity to delve deeper into the mystery. Under the veil of darkness, he stealthily crept toward the Wilsons' house. Cautiously peering through a partially open window, he glimpsed an unsettling sight. The interior was in disarray. the furniture overturned and the walls adorned with bizarre scribblings. Mr. Wilson seemed agitated, muttering to himself in a frenzied manner. His wife, Mrs. Wilson, appeared distressed, her eyes brimming with fear. Before Alex could discern more, a scream pierced the night, sending a cold rush down his back. The Wilsons abruptly vanished from sight, leaving the house cloaked in a silence. Determined to unravel the enigma, Alex decided to explore the abandoned Wilson residence the following day. With trepidation gnawing at his gut, he cautiously stepped over the threshold. The interior was a tapestry of chaos and inexplicable symbols etched into the walls, a cryptic language of madness. As Alex ventured deeper into the house's belly, a sense of fear enveloped him. A disquieting revelation awaited him in the basement. An ancient-looking tome lay open, its pages adorned with peculiar runes and esoteric diagrams. As he deciphered the cryptic writings, an ominous realization dawned upon him. The Wilsons had been involved in unsettling occult practices. A sudden gust of wind extinguished the basement light, plunging Alex into suffocating darkness. Panic gripped him as he fumbled for his flashlight, the silence deafening in the absence of sound. Whispers echoed from the shadows, ethereal murmurs that seeped into Alex's consciousness. A malevolent presence materialized, a grotesque manifestation of his worst nightmares. Before he could react, an unseen force propelled Alex backward, slamming him against the wall. His screams echoed, drowned in the abyss of malevolence that enveloped him. And in that harrowing moment, the house at 64 Elm Street devoured its final victim, leaving behind an echoing silence that reverberated through the neighborhood, a chilling testament to the disturbing secrets hidden behind closed doors.